Spencer Strider gives up one hit and one run and takes the loss as the Braves offense is shut out in Philadelphia. Let's talk about it.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, the author of the Braves Today newsletter. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. He's Jake Mastroianni, host of Locked On Braves. I almost feel a little bad for dragging him into this tonight, but we're going to discuss Atlanta's 2-0 loss to the Philadelphia Phillies. Believe it or not, there was one or two things that were not completely atrocious, right? We're going to talk about Spencer Strider and some of the steps he took today. We're going to get to that. But the elephant in the room, the obvious problem for this team that has been now for, I think, over a year here, the Atlanta Braves offense. 5 hits in the game. They draw 4 walks, so they get, 9 guys on base. Cannot get a single run in. They get shut out for the first time since the first week of the season. I'm running out of proper things that I'm allowed to say on the Locked On Podcast Network about my feelings towards this Braves offense and the fact that they just continuously cannot seem to get it done.
Yeah, it's beyond frustrating. I mean, it feels like 2024 all over again. Me and Grant came on here every night, and it was just, how can this offense not score any runs? And it's just a frustrating game after a frustrating game, and you're just pulling your hair out because back at the baseball cards, take 2023 out of it. It's not like that's the only good year that these players have had. These are good players, and for whatever reason, they're just not getting it done. And there's no more excuses. Acuna is back, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris. You got all the guys that you have built this team around, and you can't score a single run. And I think what's frustrating about this, when Carlos Paulino pointing this out too, is that you had a base runner in every inning except for the 9th inning, and you can't score a single run. And here's the bad part about this too, Lindsay, is that you were 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. So you had a runner on in every inning but one, but you only had 2 at bats with a runner in scoring position. And you had fast runners get on to lead off innings. You had Michael Harris on to lead off an inning. You had Ozzie on to lead off an inning. I could hear it. I was listening to part of the game on the radio, and you could hear it in Joe's voice too. Is when Ozzie was on, he was like, is he going to go here? And no, he doesn't. And it's just, your team has not consistently been good enough and hasn't been getting the home runs consistently enough to just be stagnant on the bases. You've got to press the issue. And I get it. JT Realmuto's back there. He's one of the best in baseball behind the plate. You can't have a runner get on base in every inning but the last one and have 2 at-bats with runners in scoring position. You got to press the issue, do something. And I think that it still remains the thing that I've hammered home the most over the last year now, is that this offense is just waiting on somebody to run into one. And look, it's a lineup that has many hitters capable of doing that, but they're not. And so how else are you going to score? How are you going to put runs across when that 3-run homer doesn't come? And this is just one of those nights where you had base runners, throughout, and you just did nothing to press the issue to try to force home 1 run. And ultimately you're going to need 3. Once they got that second one, the game was over, but you couldn't even get 1 run.
Yeah. You mentioned 2024 and how you and Grant had to go on and talk about that. I do think the difference here is, like, last year you had a built-in excuse, right? Yep. Because you had the injuries to Ozzie. You had the injuries to Austin Riley. You were missing all of these guys. This is, now that Sean Murphy came back from the oblique injury, now that Ronald Acuna Jr. is back, this is everybody. This is your team. And, like, you're missing Jurickson Profar. You didn't have him all year. Who cares? The point is, you're missing so many players, and it still just isn't happening. And it's not happening almost every single night. I mean, you've played the most 1-run games in baseball. You have a losing record in those 1-run games. And it's just, like, I'm running out of things to say here. To your point on, like, you had a guy on in every inning. You didn't ever try to sit anybody. Even when you pinch ran, you did that thing where, hey, there's 2 outs. We're going to put a pinch runner on first. We're not going to try to put him in motion. What happened? He was thrown out at second base on a ground ball in the infield. And it's just...
And that was the only play. I don't think he was going to get Eli White at first on that either. That was the only play.
That was the only option they had. If you had gotten him in motion, you could have prolonged the inning. Not that that would have done anything. We saw that in this game. But at the very least, you would have had the opportunity. And I think you were right on when you kind of said you're not even trying to force the issue. You're not even trying to put pressure on the opposing pitcher. And you did that by getting a guy on in every inning. And it's just, it kind of blows my mind. That fifth inning is, I mean, I'm not going to play the graphic and the music and all of that, but the turning point of the game is that fifth inning. Michael Harris gets on. Brandon Marsh just did not really want to play center field today. Did not want to go out and try to get balls. They fell in front of him. Michael Harris thought that ball was going to drop. Or sorry, the ball was going to get caught. But Michael Harris gets on. Nick Allen bunts him over to second. There's a little bit of that small ball trying to create something. Ronald Acuna Jr. walks, and then Riley grounds out. That puts Michael Harris on third. Riley grounds into a force out. So Ronald's out at second. Ozuna walks to load the bases. Matt Olson strikes out. And not only does Matt Olson strike out, he strikes out on the second strike was a cutter down the middle that he misses. He fouls it off. It's not just the fact that they're not getting it done. It's the way that they're getting it done. Or not getting it done. They're getting hittable pitches and not hitting them. And at this point, I don't know how you fix it.
Yeah, that's a frustrating thing too that I was going to point out, specifically looking at some of the bats late in the game. Sean Murphy, who ultimately drew a walk, which was good. He had a fastball right down the middle. You could see Jordan Romano yelling, or I think it was Romano, or maybe the pitcher before him, just yelling. I guess it was in the eighth inning, but
it was the eighth.
The pitcher was upset because he left a pitch right down the middle, and Sean Murphy just missed it. And then in the ninth inning, I'm getting my innings mixed up, but Michael Harris had a slider. I guess it was the ninth inning with Romano there, had a slider just middle, which Michael Harris is having all the kinds of issues right now, and he misses it. Like there are mistakes in here, and the Braves just aren't taking advantage of it. And it's very, very frustrating because you're getting good pitches to hit and you're not making the other team pay. And it feels like Braves pitchers are throwing pitches out of the zone and they're getting punished for it. And it's just, it's beyond frustrating that you're not able to take advantage when you're getting those opportunities. That fifth inning, like you said, and that inning, that's where I really want Riley to do something. We can get on Matt Olson because he got the last out of the inning. It's a tough lefty on lefty matchup, but in that inning, I'm looking at Riley. Obviously, you would love Ozuna, but they're most likely going to pitch around Ozuna to get the lefty-lefty matchup there with Matt Olson. But I'd have loved to see Riley give a better at bat. He had a pretty at bat later in the game too, with runner on base. First pitch, 96 in off the plate in, and he pops it up. That was a pretty bad at bat from Austin Riley, and it's just they're not consistently getting those good at bats. They'll show flashes. That game in Boston, it felt like, here we go, we're on a roll. Maybe this offense has finally got it. We're seeing consistently good at bats, and then nope, next game out, we're back to swinging at bad pitches, not having good at bats. And not every at bat can be a good one, but you want it from your middle of the order guys.
Majority of them need to be.
Yeah. And it's just not.
The Riley force out there, sinker, belt high, outer third. Like, I know that, I mean, it's not the easiest pitch to pull, but it's a belt high sinker. It felt like that was a bit of a gift. You can't miss a pitch like that. And that's what, and Riley grounds that weekly, like I say weekly, he grounds it to Trey Turner, just frustrating. In just a second, let's talk about Spencer Strider, because the numbers weren't always pretty as far as the walks and some of that. But he only allowed one run, and we'll kind of break that whole thing down next, right here on the Braves Postcast. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, Supply House is a reliable way to order your products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you're a DIYer who needs help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. If you're a trade pro looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trademaster program today, supplyhouse.com/TM, and start ordering your plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, everybody can use promo code SH5 for 5% off your order. That's at supplyhouse.com. Okay, Jake, so we see Spencer Strider make a start, and I feel like despite some of the pedestrian whiff numbers and things like that, like this was real growth. His velocity is still not that 97, 98 kind of average that he had back in 23. He's struggling to locate some stuff, only had 50 strikes in the whole thing. He walks 4 guys, although 2 were in those final 2 batters in the 5th inning. But he only allows 1 hit and 1 run. The 1 hit's a double, brings a run in. That ends up being the margin, and he loses with 1 hit. Like, he's not the same guy, but at the same time, this was a much better start than we saw last time, and you can see how he's getting better from start to start. He's just obviously not a finished product yet.
Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction for Spencer Strider. You want to take a positive out of this one. Again, like I said, I know he didn't get through 5 innings, had to throw 90 pitches. Those last couple of batters there. Bryson Stott is just, golly. If he were on my team, I would absolutely love him, but he is my least favorite Philadelphia Philly by a wide margin. And it's just because sometimes I feel like he goes up there and he's not really trying to get a hit. He's just seeing how many pitches he can foul off. And it is just
18 pitches in those 2 at-bats, both walks.
Yeah, it's just infuriating. Like I said, if you were on my team, I would love it. I wish the Braves had some more at-bats like that. But I think he really wore down Spencer Strider, and he, walked him and walked another batter in that inning before ultimately getting pulled. But before that, Spencer Strider, like I said, taking a step in the right direction, was averaging just 95 with a 4-seamer, and that might just be what we have to expect from Spencer Strider for right now. But the slider is still really good, 55% whiff rate on the slider tonight. So, he can be good with those 2 pitches. He can't be overly dominant without that velocity.
Right.
But he can still be a good pitcher, and he's going to continue to get stretched out. And I think he just get even better. He may have to start using his other pitches a little bit more. He still didn't really have to go to them too much tonight, just 5 changeups and 2 curveballs. But, to get the swing and miss and the strikeouts back, he might have to go to those pitches a little bit more with the velocity down on the fastball. But that slider is still a really good pitch for him. So I was encouraged by what we saw from Strider, and a team that's seen him a lot and obviously is very, comfortable with him, or seeing him a lot. They're comfortable in the postseason than they are in the regular season. But
yeah.
I thought that was, a very, very good step for Spencer Strider.
Yeah, that final inning, I went back and looked at the velocities on the fastball. He broke 95 a couple times. He had a 95.7 mile-an-hour fastball in that final inning. It was a lot of like 93s and 94s, but again, a couple 95s in there, hit 95.7 in that final inning. So the average being around the same as it was for the season. I think you're right. This is probably going to be for at least the next half of the season, maybe, or maybe a little bit less than that. This is going to be the Strider we get. And 90% fastball slider is probably not going to work all year to the level that he's accustomed to. But I think if you can keep it at 80%, 82%, something like that, and use that curveball and change up more, like you said, that's probably the key there. And then because he goes out so early, Atlanta has to use a bunch of different relievers. Emilio Santos, Dylan Lee. We saw the thing again where Atlanta tries to finish an inning with the guy, bring him back in the next inning, see if he can go the entire thing, stealing out here, stealing out there. You end up having Rafael Montero have to come in for 1 out in the 7th inning. Daysbel Hernandez ends up giving up a second run in the 9th. 2 walks, 2 hits. I guess it's 2 singles and then 2 walks, brings in a run. He did kind of cowboy up at the end there and get the strikeout to get out of that. But when we talk about you really can't take Raisel Iglesias out of the closer role, 8th innings like that of Daysbel's is why you can't take Raisel Iglesias out of the closer's role right now. It's better to fix Raisel Iglesias than try to get around things like that from Daysbel Hernandez.
Yeah, we've talked about it. He's been really good. The numbers have obviously been great, but he still just has those issues with the command. My big issue in this outing, though, was the 0-2 pitches and the 1-2 pitch to Alec Bohm. You had him 0-2. Yeah. You throw a non-competitive slider way out of the zone, and then you try to go with the fastball again, and Alec Bohm is just ready for it, and he barrels it, but it goes foul, and you can tell he's on the fastball. This is on Drake Baldwin, too. You cannot throw that fastball again, and I get it. It's up out of the zone 99, but you saw it in that foul ball that Bohm was sitting fastball. He is on it. If you throw a slider anywhere close to the zone, it is strike 3. And he doesn't. He goes back to the fastball. Bohm's ready for it, shoots it up the middle. You know you're going to throw nothing but sliders to Nick Castellanos, and that's fine. He hits a weak single, but then you just can't have the walks after that.
Yeah, and really the thing on that Bohm, like, yes, it's a fastball. Yes, it's like almost shoulder high, but it's also 1-2. You absolutely can go out of the zone with something. You can take a fastball outside. You can take a fastball down. It doesn't have to be a fastball somewhere where he's looking for it, trying to hit it. But I think you're right. You got to go a different pitch, a slider, something there. End of the day, frustrating loss. And now you lose a little bit more ground in the division. We're at the point, I know a lot of the fans are already here. I see it in the YouTube chat right now. Are we officially kind of ringing the gong on, like, you have to change your expectations now for the season of what this team can do, seeing that even getting Ronald back, he hit 2 home runs over the weekend and hit like 400, and they still lost 2 of those 3 games. We're at the point now where we kind of have to say the division's probably out of grabs. We're playing for a wild card, or is this, you can still get hot and go on a run? Am I just being defeatist here because the chat's making me sad?
Yeah, a little bit of spoiler alert. I'd already queued this up to talk about it on the podcast on Wednesday, so we'll take a look at it. But
yeah,
you basically have to go on a 2022 type run. I think the Braves were 10.5 back of the Mets going through May, and just went on an incredible run. But that's basically what you're looking at this point now with the Atlanta Braves. So look, you just focus on yourself and playing good baseball each and every day. And I know that's the moniker that all the players are going to say, you take it one game at a time, but you honestly just do. I don't care what anybody else is doing right now. If the Braves don't start playing better baseball, then they're not going to have any shot at postseason at all.
Absolutely. Final note here, Nick Allen, the defense, Ozzie tries to tackle him in the middle infield, and he pulls a Bijan Robinson, gets around Ozzie, gets the bag, gets the throw to first. Just a fantastic defense. He continues to be fantastic. And it's a joy to watch, because I feel like we haven't had that rangy shortstop in a while. Probably since, even Dansby's range wasn't amazing. He just was positioned really well. So that was fun to watch. There's another little positive to pull away from a frustrating and ultimately kind of terrible game. Okay, so again, Braves drop game 1 of the series 2-0 to the Phillies. Tomorrow, AJ Smith-Shawver versus Zach Wheeler, 6:45 p.m. Again, weather permitting. I've heard there's a little bit of showers in the forecast. We'll see what happens. We'll be back after that with another postcast to break down what we're hoping is an embarrassingly short outing for Zach Wheeler. We'll see what happens. Do us a favor. If you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to both Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta. Hit the notification bell so you know when Locked On Sports Atlanta is talking about all your favorite Atlanta sports teams, and when Jake is going live with another episode of Locked On Braves. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Lindsay Crosby. This has been the Braves Postcast.